So we'll move on to the bass line. For me, this is one of the best parts of the track.
I'm just curious, what about the kick? What did we do on the kick?
Okay, kick. In the kick,
I think it's a kick from the Signatures kick sample pack. I can't remember.
Yeah, looks like it.
And drum bass, as always, that's something I use all the time.
Yeah, adds a nice punch on this one.
Yeah, we did it almost parallel.
Yeah, 70% on the mix. And yeah, just a simple low cut on the low end, below 20, 24, 25.
I've realized that you do this almost on all the tracks, right?
Yeah, I try and do it on everything. Just to be safe, to clean up the mix. And obviously, kick and bass relationship is the most important thing with this kind of music. So, killer bass line.
Oh yeah.
Really nice pattern. And the sound is at SH101. I think we started with this solid bass preset and probably just tweaked the filter a little bit.
It's basically lately bass sound, right?
It is, yeah. And I find this filter envelope helps it cut through the mix.
Yeah, basically I think we tweaked this like envelope, resonance a little bit, and frequency, and that's it. Like,
yeah.
So sick. And what did we use for processing this? So, I see that you use Track Spacer for sidechain, right?
I do. I use Track Spacer all the time. Obviously, there's lots of different tools out there for it, but I really like Track Spacer and always have the Pultec EQ on my bass as well. These three are essentially on all my bassline channels on every track. Yeah. So yeah, the Pultec gives it a nice boost on the low end at around 100 hertz. And then obviously this sidechains the frequency that the kick is peaking at.
Yeah.
And then this Pro Q3 again just low cuts anything above 50 something hertz, which allows the kick to have more room underneath.
Can you open Track Spacer?
Yeah, so when we play this with the kick.
Yeah.
You see,
yeah, it's a very good thing to visualize stuff, like what is going on.
Yeah, this really allows space for the kick drum underneath.
So basically we don't have any sidechain above, I don't know, like it's not written here, but above a certain amount of frequency, right? So we can hear the high frequencies from both the kick and the bass going together.
That's it. So then on to some of the musical parts.
That's something very interesting. As you can see underneath, it's a wall track that I've sampled, and it's basically a track from Coulter. And I've sampled a stab from his track, which is called Authentic Computers. I don't know if you know that track, Josh.
I don't know.
But
I've only ever listened to the stab.
Yeah, and basically I've just isolated a stab from his track, and then we used some beat crush, some filter, envelope filter, chorus and stuff. But that's an interesting thing. Feel free, if you feel like if you hear a very good thing from a track you love, it can be an hi-hat or a kick, a stab, a vocal or whatever, you can always play with this. Like you sample a small part from a track you like, and then you tweak it and you make it your own, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we did a lot of processing on this. So maybe if we group all of these and we bypass them, we can hear what it sounded like before. And then there's the classic.
And we did automation with
lots of automation with the filter on this throughout the track. And this section actually, where the peak of the track happens, the filter's all the way out and creates such a big energy for the track, I think. So yeah, this filter is key in creating the dynamics and the different energy changes. Yeah,
the filters and automations are so important if you want to work on the track throughout like the whole arrangement. It helps a lot to not be bored at some point and have something like appealing through the whole process.
Yeah, it brings it to life. Okay, then underneath we've got this pretty simple string, just one nice string with some side chain, nice and easy. Just fills some space.
Classic house trick.
Yeah.
It helps bring tension too.
And then what was this siren? I can't remember.
I think it's something from speed garage stuff.
Yes, man.
But after that, we use this shimmer reverb, and that's not very common here.
No, it's not actually. But, we didn't use much reverb. We wanted to keep this track quite snappy and tight, but this shimmer
gives it's a really good trick.
Yeah, some harmonics on the top end. I really like this plugin. I use this a lot.
And keep it open. I think like if you remove the feedback from it, you won't have like that thing in the end, that belly sound going in the end. Yeah, you just have the reverb. But when you open the feedback, it brings some stuff in the tail. Yeah, you can hear it.
So we've got this sweep. This helps the breakdowns. Oh, this is quite an interesting one. Not something I do all the time.
Yeah, me too.
A nice technique with the vocoder. Let's hear it without. So yeah, instead of being a synthy kind of sound, it turns it into more of a white noise.
Yeah.
With some echo, sidechain. Not that the sidechain's active, actually. Only on one.
Yeah.
And now you feel it.
Cool. Yeah, what I love about the tracks that we made together is the subtle differences in the sounds, and this is a great example because, you know, the sidechain is happening on one of them, but not on the other one. And although they're the same sample, these subtleties in processing help them stand out and be different from each other.
Before going to the mark vocals, we can see underneath that we've put vinyl sound. That's a trick I do in all of my tracks. To have that kind of analog grainy thing.
Yeah, and this kind of thing helps glue tracks together as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's vinyl noise or crowd sound or a tape machine noise or anything. I've used sounds that I've recorded in car parks and all these crazy stuff at markets and stuff, you know, with my phone when I'm on tour. I'll always take field recordings and use them for things like this.
But I think in one of like the tracks of our EP, I think it's I can't remember the name. The last one, fuck. We used a crowd sample, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't any crowd sample, was it? Because if I remember right, it was from a party at your old apartment in Paris.
Yeah, that's it.
And I remember when Romeo was here, I showed him that and I told him about that, you know, that situation where you'd recorded the crowd, and he was saying, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I recognize that voice. I'm sure that's one of my friends.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He was like, I'm sure I was at that party and that's one of our friends.
But I can't remember it actually. It was there, I remember.